The character I chose to portray is Mikhail Baryshnikov.
Muhammad Ali.
Denise Graves.
This summer, I'm portraying Marian Anderson.
Ira Aldridge.
Kate Millett.
Allen Ginsberg.
I chose Janis Joplin to portray. My name is Ashley Hughes, and in a couple of weeks I will be a freshman at Barry University, which is in Miami Shores, Florida, and I chose Janis Joplin to portray. First and foremost, I chose Janis Joplin because I just love the 60s. I think the 60s were an amazing time with like Woodstock and Janis and Jimi Hendrix and everything that was just going on in the 60s. And also I think Janis Joplin is a very interesting character. She opened a lot of doors and she was just an overall amazing person. I feel like when you're really passionate about something, you don't hold back. You give it your all. Beatniks and hippies are the most passionate people. It's like, I feel like if I hold back, I'm no good now. And I'd rather be good sometimes than holding back all the time. Like I said, when you're free, it's hard, but when it works, it's sure worth it. My favorite Janis Joplin songs are Cry Baby and Mercedes Benz. Oh Lord, won't you buy me a Mercedes Benz? My friends all drive Porsches, I must make amends.
I am Justin Chaney. I portray Ira Aldridge, and I am attending Columbia College, Chicago.
Fame was caused by my race. It was a novelty to have a man of color included in the cast. I was a black-skinned cheap attraction for gross revenue. No one expected much from me. They came not to appreciate my talent, but to point and laugh.
I chose to portray Ira Aldridge after I saw his portrait. I didn't read the writing next to it, and so I didn't really know he was in character for Othello. So I just see this man dressed in clothes like I'm wearing right now, and it just made me wonder what was his station in life. Who was he that he could wear this sort of thing, especially since it's a little dated. You mean, you think people might have an issue with a black man wearing that sort of thing. And so all portraits have like a presence, but he also had mystery. And so that's why I picked him.
I practiced my trade in the English territories. By 1830, I had exhausted every African role I could get my hands on. So, donned in a wig and pale makeup, I began to play non-black roles. I added Macbeth, King Lear, Richard III to my repertoire. I began to tour Europe, where I gained true success. I played for the royalty of a dozen nations.
My name is Tiana Long. I attend Thurgood Marshall Academy, and this summer, I'm portraying Marian Anderson. People on the street expressed, even though she was soft-spoken and like kind of shy, she was like a very powerful person, and like I really look up to her, and I wish she was alive so I could like meet her. On Easter Sunday, 1939, thousands of people gathered on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial. There were people farther than the eye could see. I was so nervous, I didn't think I would be able to speak to them, let alone perform. In the end, I did. I sang for the whole program.
not even knowing what I was singing until the newspaper reported on it the next day.
She mentioned that she was really nervous about doing it and scared, and that she didn't think she was going to do it, but she sucked it up and gathered, I don't know where she gathered the courage from, but she did it.
My name is Chris Schelb. I go to Duke Ellington School of the Arts. I am a flute major. Ginsberg's most significant contribution, in my opinion, is probably his poetry, including Howl, Kaddish, and also his involvement in the anti-war movement in Vietnam. So he was a large protester against the war and promoted a lot of this peace in the U.S.
Exhausted with the state of the world. We became the archetypes of the Beat generation. Radicals of the time, we were the...
My most fun moment portraying Ginsberg had to be when I say part of his poem, Howl, towards the end of my monologue. Those who threw potato salad at the CCNY lecturers on Dadaism and subsequently presented themselves with shaven heads and Harlequin speech of suicide on the granite steps of the madhouse.
Shaven heads and Harlequin speech of suicide.
Demanding
instantaneous lobotomy, but who instead received the concrete void of methadrol, insulin, hydrotherapy, electricity therapy, occupational therapy, ping pong, and amnesia. I want to change what we see, not just ruminate and complain. This is why I write my poetry, to express my deep-seated emotions, my lamentations, and my beliefs. My poetry is not just an expression of the party life. It's that time of night, lying in bed, thinking what you really think, and making the private world public.
I am Tatiana Georges Brown, and I go to Elizabeth Seton High School in Bladensburg, Maryland. I'll be an upcoming senior, and I chose to portray Denyce Graves. I chose to portray Denyce Graves because you're amazed by her beauty. When you first see the portrait, that's all you see, and there's a greater story beyond beauty.
She taught today. Participation in the church was required. It's where I found my passion, singing. Following that passion led me to the Duke Ellington School for the Performing Arts. Yes, you have to say it like that. I was accepted immediately, and I received private voice lessons, and attended my first opera, Beethoven's Fidelio. As the singer beautifully sang the words, and they reverberated throughout the halls, I decided to transcend my surroundings, to do the one thing I love for the rest of my life, and become very rich and very famous for it. That I did, but it was a struggle. After I graduated high school, I attended the Oberlin Conservatory.
I'm not the one to wear red lipstick, and I also don't say things, but now I think it's helped me in real life to be bold and really harsh with my decisions, to do them and do them greatly. My favorite part of the whole summer was performing with the cast every day. We're all different, we all come from different backgrounds, and each day it's new and funnier, and it's just a great time.
My name is James Tindle. I just recently graduated from Booker T. Washington Public Charter School. And the character I chose to portray is Mikhail Baryshnikov. I believe Baryshnikov's strongest trait will probably be his confidence. It's like, he's definitely he knows what he has. He knows that he's talented, and he knows that he's successful, and he knows he's great at what he does. So I say at all times now in my real life, I try to be confident in everything that I go at or go for. So
none of this is why I dance. I dance because I am passionate and I am successful because I work hard. And nothing but that. I tried a lot of things, but I got lucky. I fell in love with dance. It wasn't until I visited Leningrad School that I began to focus on dance. There I met Alexander Pushkin, the head of the school. I was crazy, so I walked right up to him and I said,
for the teen ambassadors who will be here next year, for the summer of 2011, that at all times try to remain high-spirited, because sometimes throughout the process it can get you down. You might seem a little bit frustrated about things that you might have to endure, but in the end, I think that the entire summer will prove to be an amazing process. It's an amazing adventure, and you will love it. So please give it all you have.
My name is Aliyah Cabbage-Stalk, and I attend the field school in Washington, D.C.
When I came back, the world would remember who I am. I hated every minute of training, but I told myself, suffer now and live the rest of your life as a champion.
I chose Muhammad Ali because he has a very strong presence, and he's a very interesting figure in American history. And I feel as though he marketed himself in a way that made everyone believe exactly what he wanted them to believe. And I think that's very interesting, and that's a very interesting quality about him.
I trained hard and I became undefeated. In 1964, I shook the world when I knocked out Sonny Liston and became the heavyweight champion. I was the greatest. I was on the top of my game. Float like a butterfly, sing like a bee, and I had all eyes on me. And just like boxing, I took my fate very
Well, he leads with his left, and then he breaks in with the right. So he punches you with his left, and you think, ow, ow, ow. But then when that right comes, it's game over.
My name is Loren Walker. I am a soon-to-be senior at Duke Ellington School of the Arts, and I portray the character of Kate Millett. One reason why I wanted to portray Kate Millett is because when I was walking around the gallery, I walked past this portrait and her eyes wouldn't stop following me. I would go up low, I would peek around the corner, and it seemed like she was always looking at me. So I was just like, okay, I have to do you. And then when I started to research her, I knew nothing about her to begin with. So I started to research her, and I was like, wow, you're really interesting. Like, I've never dabbled with a character who was inspired by, you know, women and the feminist movement. So I thought this would be like a really complex character to portray and get a hold on.
See, the cage or the jail is what we are all trapped in. We all have this desire to be free, but the minds of ignorant people in power act like cages or barriers to freedom and equality. But I am one of the many fighting to break loose. Thank you. So, I wrote a book, Sexual Politics. I wanted to trace back the reason why the first phase of the sexual revolution started and how it changed throughout the currents of literature, showing how literature reflects certain sides of our lives the way a diamond or a broken bottle does. It achieved instant success. After hitting
tours around the U.S.? Oh gosh, the greatest thing I will take away from this experience is a consistent amount of energy, not lowering your energy just because you're tired, but heightening it because you know you have to tell the story of your character. Like, you don't matter when it comes to performing. The character does. Yourself aside, no matter how tired or whatever you may be, you still have to tell the story of that character because it can actually touch somebody's life that day.
I am Jerry Provost-Lyons, and I am the Youth and Family Program Coordinator at the National Portrait Gallery. The first day they get here, basically we hit the ground running and we figure out, what it is exactly they're going to be doing for the summer. Shortly after that, we give them a tour of the portrait gallery. What is this place about? Teach them how to read portraiture, look at portraiture. What is it? What does it mean? What do the signs and symbols in some portraits mean? Just kind of get them geared up with that. We also have the students work with summer camp students so that they can interact with visitors prior to their performances, so it's not so jarring and shocking to them. Then we start on the research process, and they choose who they would like to become. Shortly after that, we go through a writing process. This year it included a week of poetry, 2 hours a day for 5 days. And then we also integrate into their theater exercises so that they can really physicalize and embody their character, kind of leaving themselves at the door here when they come in and really trying to embody their character. Shortly after all of that, once their monologue is complete, then it's a matter of how do we make the story fit together. So we do a number of writing exercises in order to have the students understand what it is the people are passionate about. All of these people, why are they important? Why are they here? Not the everyday stories, but what makes them an American icon.
Age, and the hero is usually a pretty young person, right? It's a young person who is going to change the world, who's going to shape the world for what? Better. One word. Better. Yeah.
And then in the end, they perform. And in the end of the end, it's sad when it's over, because they have a really good time and they're really, really talented young people.